What do you get the most joy out of playing basketball?
I just get probably the most joy out of like being with the team and watching the team succeed as a whole. That's probably the most fun, is when we can win and come together and play as a team.
You know, a lot of times basketball players have gaudy statistics and everything like that. Do you ever feel maybe a little underappreciated, not on your own team, but not recognized? And here's why I ask you that. Your stats are across the board very, very good, but maybe not exceptional in any area. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I totally agree. But I know that most people that watch basketball know that the stats don't show everything, and
right.
I've never been one to really care too much about what the stats say.
Yeah.
So I mean, I feel fine with my stats.
Well, it's amazing to me because some nights you'll lead us in rebounding, some nights you'll lead us in assists. You can score. Obviously, you play good defense. The coaches have raved about that since day one. What's the most fun for you, though, of all the skills?
Probably defense.
Really?
I mean, rebounding now is kind of what we need, so it's fun to get a lot of rebounds, but I love a good defense.
Yeah, and of course you were an all-conference selection on the defensive team last year. Was that something that kind of justified or, I don't know, validated your defensive work?
Yeah, it definitely did, and like you said, that's something that's not shown in the stats.
Yeah.
So that's where I kind of go back to not feeling underappreciated or anything, because it does. I get appreciated, I feel.
How do you know when you've had a good defensive night?
The coaches will tell me, and I mean, our defense kind of leads to our offense, so I just know normally.
Yeah.
Whenever we play well as a team, it normally feeds off of our defense.
You've been a part of two very good teams and another good team this year, and is that kind of what you're all about? You look at the wins and losses more than the stats then? Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, definitely, because, I mean, if you worry about the stats, it comes down to more of an individual game.
Yep.
But I'm more about the team, yeah.
Where'd you learn that?
Probably I want to first say my parents, but also just all throughout basketball, that's kind of what I've been taught.
Right. Right. Tell me about your parents a little bit. What do they do for a living? And tell me a little bit something about them.
Both of my parents were actually in the military,
right.
But now they are both retired. So my stepdad is a sheriff, and then my mom actually stays at home now.
Okay. So they get a chance to see some of your games then, being fairly close.
Yeah, they come to almost all the ones they can.
You're a military kid. Did you move around a lot when you were younger?
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't stay. In high school was when they retired, so that was the longest. I stayed all throughout high school, but before that I was at different schools almost every year.
I think we've seen your growth as a player in the 3 years here, but I remember the first interview we did with you. You were very shy and not very outgoing. You are not that way anymore. You were very, very vocal, and it was a tough getting kind of used to college that first year.
Yeah, I
hope you take that as a compliment.
No, I definitely know. I'm always really shy at first, and then once I get going, it's kind of hard to get me to stop. But,
is it?
Yeah, but. Yeah, it was a big transition for me.
What was that first year like? Were you lonely? Were you just kind of taking it all in?
Yeah, whenever I first came in, it's kind of hard to get used to new people, new team, all of that stuff. But once I got used to the team and the coaches and everything, I was good to go.
You see yourself a leader now in your junior year?
I'm trying to be. That's one of the things I'm trying to work on, is just continuously being a better leader.
Because as a guard, as a point guard, you are kind of in charge of the ball and doing a lot of things. Does that correlate to your relationship with your teammates?
Yeah, absolutely, because they're always kind of looking at me to see what we're doing next on the floor and what we're supposed to be in, so absolutely, yeah.
It seems to me like you've worked hard on your shot. You've become more of a shooter this year, and that mid-range jumper especially has been very effective. Am I on the right track?
Yeah, I've been really trying. It's still a long way to go, but I'm trying to get that shot down.
How about the running game? You like that because you
Love
score
it.
Equally in transition. Tell me about the running game for you guys.
Well, that's something that will be one of our big strengths this year, because we're a lot smaller than most other teams. So when we get running, I think we're going to be a hard team to beat.
In the game against Bellarmine, we're recording this on Saturday, but the game last night against Bellarmine, there was a time where you and Chelsea were kind of side by side. She had the ball and you veered off a little bit. Spacing seems to be such a big part of your game. How do you practice that? How do you learn that?
Especially with me and Chelsea, it's just something that we just kind of know. We feed off of each other with playing with each other for 2 years. But it's kind of hard to practice. It's just something that you kind of, when you play with your teammates, you kind of know Chelsea's going to take this, or maybe I should run down. It's You just learn it more with just playing with them.
Playing with Chelsea gives you an opportunity to run the floor. You guys are both so good at stealing, and at the top of the conference, I think last year, weren't you 1 and 2 in the conference?
Something like that, yeah.
How about pressing? Do you enjoy the pressure defense?
Yeah, I think that's also another strength of ours is using our guards because, like you said, Chelsea, Jesse, Maddie, all of us in the front court is a really big strength, so I think press is good for us.
You seem on the court so even-tempered. I don't think I've ever seen you real upset on the court, at least outwardly. Or do you get upset at times?
I do. I try and keep it in, but yeah, especially when I have 2 fouls in the first couple minutes.
Right. That happened last night, right?
It did, yeah.
What did Jill say to you at that point? Because normally she will not bring you back in the half if you have 2 fouls, but you were in there, I think, with 3 or 4 minutes left in the half.
Yeah, she said, actually, I did a good job. I mean, they weren't too awful fouls, and then towards the end we kind of had multiple people with 2 fouls, so we just had to kind of put someone else back in. She just said play smart.
First part of the Bellarmine game, there were so many touch fouls. How do you like that new rule?
Not at all. It's especially hard whenever you first start a game and you're really amped and you're kind of ready to go, and then you get little touch fouls, but they seem to be backing off a little bit with the calls, especially in the second half. They'll normally ease up with the calls.
Well, my wife and I, who does the color for us on occasion, had this discussion last night during the game that they came out and called every touch in the first 5 minutes. Well, I think both teams were in the bonus before the first media timeout. Did they back off a little bit on those calls, or did you adjust, or was it something in the middle?
I think it's something in the middle. That's something that we have to work on now. It's just making sure that we adjust. You kind of have to see what the refs are going to call and then adjust. But I definitely think they also kind of backed off a little bit.
Let's take a moment and talk a little bit about life as a student at Jewell and what you're going to do with your degree. First of all, when are you planning on graduating?
Next spring, 2015.
So you're right on track to graduate. And what are you going to do with your degree?
Something in business. I had a sales internship this past summer, so maybe sales. I'm looking at marketing as well.
Wow, that's wonderful. Yeah, any specific area that you want to work in sales and marketing?
I haven't really, no, not yet. I'm trying to kind of hone it in, but not yet.
Yeah. You mentioned your parents a little bit ago. Any siblings?
2 little brothers. KJ is 9, and then Mikey's 5.
Are they basketball wannabes?
Yeah, actually, it's interesting. This weekend, I have a game on Friday. KJ has a game today.
Okay.
Me and Mikey both have games tomorrow.
Do you play against them? Do you take them? I mean, do you back in and take them to the hole?
A little bit. I try to take it easy on them a little bit.
What's the thing that you want to get finally out of this season? When this season is done, you've got 1 more left. Where do you want to be at the end of this season?
I'd just like to finish this season. Our goal as a team is to finish in the top 3 of the conference, so I'd like to finish up there, let Jesse and Chelsea and Cassie finish with a good, strong season, and then just get us in a good position for next year, too.
Right. And at a 2-0 start, you're kind of on a good track?
Yeah.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
No problem.